one of the things that happened was the surgeon went, did surgery, came back, said, we're doing what we can, but we don't know where this is going. This is a minute by minute deal. He said, you need to be able to be ready to make a decision. Meaning that really, really bad. He came back within 10 minutes and said, things have taken a turn for the worst, and that her pupils were fixed and dilated. And what that means is a sign of brain death. And that I knew by training. The doctor said, what do you want to do? And Laura and I had talked about it a little bit, and we felt that as long as Michelle could experience joy, and one of her joys is Disney, take her to Disney in a wheelchair, and she'd smile, we should go for it.
Nobody told you how to live a good life when your loved one has aphasia. You can. This is life beyond aphasia. My guests today are Michelle and Vince Clemens. Michelle is a dynamo, stroke survivor, aphasia, apraxia overcomer, and she is determined. I'll let Michelle share her story, and her dad, Vince, is here because they are co-authors of Michelle's book, Determined. And it's all about the first year of her recovery. And I know whoever you are, whether you're the family or the survivor, you will get something out of this book. It is written for you. And welcome, Michelle and Vince. You are both here today to share about Michelle's incredible journey over the last 9 years. And we get to talk about your new book, Michelle.
Yes, thank you. I was a news reporter and anchor, and I was nominated for an Emmy, and I loved running. I ran 6 marathons, a lot of half marathons, and I was almost to qualify for the Boston. I won 2 cupcakes competition. My life was
so 9 years ago, you had some medical issues come up, and this is where, Vince, I'd love for you to jump in on. Give us the highlights of kind of what happened, how did Michelle's condition progress, and where did you go from there?
I was up with Michelle because she had some medical stuff going on. Had dinner, sat down, watched TV a little bit. She went to bed. I laid down, and then about right around midnight, she came out. She said she had a bad headache. And I said, well, how bad is it? She goes, pretty bad. And I said, is it the worst she's ever had? And she said, no, but pretty bad. I said, well, sit down for a few minutes and let's see what happens. So she sat down on the couch. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm like, how's it doing now? I said, any better? She said, no. And I said, you know what? We're going to go to the hospital. I'm not going to call an ambulance. And the reason I'm not going to call an ambulance because if it's what I'm thinking it could be, and she was on some medication that we had to be aware of for a different medical condition. And I said, we're just going to go there. I said, there's nothing the ambulance can do different than what I can do. The only thing I can do is drive fast, and I can do that myself. And I just thought, you know what? It just makes more sense to get in the car and go. She actually had trouble getting down the stairs, so she actually bumped her seat all the way down until we got to the bottom. I pretty much carried her hand in hand, arm in arm, to the car. Got her in the car. She's one of these kids who always walks around with a stupid water bottle. She started drinking. And I said, no, you can't have a drink. Why not? I said, you can't have a drink until you get to the hospital. So hospital's probably about 10 to 15 minutes away. And she's asking me like every minute, can I have a drink? Can I have a drink? No. And then probably about 5 minutes away from the hospital, she starts calling me daddy. She has not called me daddy since she's probably 8 years old, which was really, really odd. And then a couple minutes later, she says, I don't want to die. And impending doom is a sign of things going really, really bad. And so got to the hospital. I left the keys in the car. I might have even left it running. I don't know. I ran inside, got a wheelchair, carried her out of the chair, put her into the wheelchair. They got her back pretty quick into the room. And they kind of just, they're a PA and two nurses kind of just doing their thing. I'm like, yeah, it's a panic attack. And okay. And that's not what I'm thinking, but they're the experts. So they left, and after about 5 minutes, she was in a fetal position and really not responding. So I went, found the doctor and said, Doc, this is not a panic attack. I've been on plenty of panic attacks in my career as a firefighter paramedic. And I said, this is not, something else is going on. So they came back concerned. They said, yeah, she's got a brain bleed, and that's about 2 inches off center. There's that much blood that had come out, compressing her brain to the other side. They said, we're going to fly her down to a different hospital, which is an hour drive probably. Of course, it started raining, so they can't take off. So I beat them there, call my wife on the way, and tell her I need to come up right now. They did an intervention real quick, said what was going on, and they said they couldn't really operate at that point yet, but they had the surgeon coming in and went from there.
That is quite the story, Michelle. And I also know, because of our conversations, that the doctors gave you 1%. Here you are, 9
Yeah.
years later.
Yes, I am a author.
You are an author and a survivor.
Exactly.
Michelle, your book is about that first year of recovery.
Yes.
How did you keep going?
My faith is strong, and I am a perfectionist, okay? Okay. And my speech was really frustrating still, okay? I need to practice my speech because I told you, I am a perfectionist. My story is my story. It's you can do it. And I did. And actually, I still need practice. I have speech and everything, but yeah.
But you also, in your nature, from when you were young, you've shared the story that you set your mind to something and you follow through with it.
Yes. In middle school, I decided I'm going to anchor the news. And a lot of people thought, hey, yeah, about that. No. But I was determined. And fast forward, I was a news anchor and reporter, and watch me. I was really driven, and still driven.
You have been driven since, I think, your dad and mom recalling from the days you woke up in the hospital. Once you figured out what was going on, you haven't stopped a day since. Dad, you had some support that came from a surprising outside source. Can you share a little bit with the audience about that source?
Sure. It's called CaringBridge. And it was introduced to us when a friend of mine had a double lung transplant. I thought about this CaringBridge thing at the hospital in their waiting room for the families, because we were given 5 minutes an hour to see her while she was in care. So I'd go there early, about 6 a.m. I'd go there and each day kind of type an update based on what happened the prior day. I did it to fill everybody else in, but to be honest, it was very cathartic for me. So I did that pretty much every day. And Michelle got a large following, almost 6,000 people follow her. And people, once they knew about it, they could log in there and just check on her, and I've seen it with other people.
So for you, Vince, it was about expressing all that you were going through. but also it relieved kind of only word I can think of is burden of relaying the same story over and over and over again.
That's
Right.
lovely.
And
It was awesome. Yeah, you didn't need to worry about contacting anybody. It was all right there.
yeah, you're like, here's the website. Go check it out. Right. Go check it out right there.
What Michelle did was she took all the CaringBridge info and put it into the book here. And so that's kind of my side of the story. So she has her side and my side.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's just so powerful for families to be able to read about what you guys went through and get their own inspiration for pushing forward. So, Michelle, I would say it was probably a year and a half into your recovery. You and your dad took a 2-week cruise, or was it longer than that, to Australia?
God.
3-week cruise to Australia. Tell us about that.
I love to travel.
Let me start.
Okay, fine.
I love it.
So at this point, Michelle really couldn't even talk. It was pretty much pointing at stuff. And she's looking at this cruise. She one day calls me over and points to this cruise. And only about weeks. Never gonna work. Not gonna work any way you just kept down there and pointing. And that's how it started. And I'll just end my part here with I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, right.
I can talk about it.
I love it. And I've been to 50 states, 54 countries in all the continents and all the Disney parks. And I love to travel. And I saw a cheap cruise, and my dad and I love to cruise, and I said it's okay, and we were hired. Why not? Yeah.
She was probably the youngest person in the group.
Yeah.
I might have been the second youngest.
Right. But why not? Or the memories. I mean, the memories of the cruise. And it just shows, Michelle, your determination. So let's talk about your book.
Yes. My book is determined, obviously, and I am determined. I am determined, honestly, to speak. And it's so frustrating because I love to talk, okay? In my brain, I'm fluent, but I have aphasia and apraxia, and it's not connecting yet. I'm trying, but it's
A long way.
yes, thank you. But I mean, it wasn't really a struggle. The book is a year of recovery, not 5-6 years ago, or 5 years. And I didn't remember to brush my teeth. And I was a baby, okay? And I was in a wheelchair. I had 3 brain surgeries. And look at me. I am a walking, talking miracle.
It really is. She had to relearn how to do every single thing you can imagine in your life. Talking, eating, brushing teeth, combing hair. Everything had to be like a baby. And I know it was tough on her. It was tough on the family. It's tough for everybody who's involved. But he's pulled through pretty well.
Thanks. Oh, so
Driving,
yes,
living on your own.
Yep.
4 jobs.
Yes.
Give us a little update on these 4 jobs you have now, Michelle.
Yes, I am a author, obviously, and a motivational speaker. I am a personal trainer and silver sneaker instructor and Tabata instructor and a chair. It's weird. And then a documentary producer in Chicago.
Excellent, Michelle. That is you have quite the resume from
Thank-
Emmy award-winning reporter and news anchor to surviving with less than 1%. To 9 years later, being an author, motivational speaker, trainer. I mean,
I am
it's
so grateful. I'm so blessed, honestly.
and I know the audience feels blessed to get to know both of you and hear your story. And as we wrap up today, Vince, is there anything else you would like the audience to know?
Sure. Actually, I think this is really, really important, something we didn't know. And when I mentioned it to people, they're like, really? So since Michelle was an adult when this happened, she was over 18, going to the hospital, we found out that as family, as parents, we had absolutely zero legal right to determine anything going on. Okay, because we did not have any sort of call a power of attorney. Okay, so if I can stress to anybody listening who has children who are going to become of age, once you're 18 in all but 7 states in the U.S. is what we were told. Basically, we have no legal rights. You need to have a power of attorney, and we now have a power of attorney for medical, power of attorney for financial, and I think there's one other that we have. But to have that power of attorney is really, really important. Otherwise, essentially, the state gets to make decisions on how you're cared for. And we had no idea. And so we stress that to anybody that we know that has kids that are turning 18, going to college, just like, parents who pay for their kids' college can't look at their grades unless the kid gives them approval. Okay. If something bad happens, the parents legally are out of luck. We couldn't shut off her electricity in her apartment when she was in Green Bay. It was a big, big hassle, and get a power of attorney.
Thank you for that. Michelle, where can we find your book?
My publisher website, Books Enable, and then also Apple for e-books as well.
Wonderful. So
Can I
it's
show the book?
available everywhere. Hold it up. Oh, it's such a beautiful book.
And then a lot.
Michelle, you are determined. So proud of you, proud to know you, to have been part of your journey. Thank you for joining us today. So would you say that you can rebuild your life after aphasia?
Yeah, I am. Yes, definitely. I am living.
It's good.
Life is good. It's different. Okay. Definitely different, but life is good. Life is short and precious. Live life.
Thank you, Vince and Michelle, for joining me today. And folks, all of the links will be in the show notes. Be sure to get your copy of Michelle's book, Determined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rehab ends. Life doesn't. Rebuild communication.
Rehab
rebuild
ends.
connection.
Life
rebuild
doesn't.
life.
Rebuild
This is life
communication.
beyond aphasia.
Rebuild connection. Rebuild life.